Welcome to my food forest, guys. How you guys doing on this beautiful day? All right, guys, so entering my food forest where I have lots of different plants growing, all different type of plants, tropical plants, different type of plants. This is what we call chop and drop. Okay, we chop and we drop and we just drop them to the root. This is how we feed our banana plant. We let the banana plant feed itself, and whatever weed we get up off the ground, we put it around it, as you can see. So this is how we feed our plants in our food forest. In a food forest, you should definitely able to allow the plants to feed themselves, and you should be able to use the weeds that's in the garden to also feed the plant. So these are some pepper tree I have grown here. These are bell pepper trees. This bell pepper tree is like 5 feet tall. Usually around here I grow bell pepper tree up to 8 feet tall. All right, so this is bell pepper I have growing up in this area here. If you notice, you're gonna see this one have a nice massive bell pepper on top of it, and the others have flowers. So what we feed these plants with, if you notice, you're gonna see what we have over there, the body of the tree trunk. We have weeds. That's basically what we feed these plants with. Also, if you notice, we already start staking the peppers them, because these peppers get so tall. And if you notice, this is a prime example. The pepper them does get so big and heavy that they will naturally break down the tree. So we have to be mindful of that. So this is what we do. We prepare our garden before everything starts to spring in action. So this is a pumpkin, all right? This pumpkin comes from in the middle of this garden. This pumpkin just grows up just like that from here, and it just starts running. And what I'm doing, I'm actually trying to control the pumpkin, because if you don't control the pumpkin, they're gonna be running everywhere. You see this? If you're gonna run through the garden, so I have to come and actually train them to run in the direction I want them to go. So basically, if you see coming over here, this is the pumpkin just running over here. Let me show you the ends of the pumpkin. These are the ends of the pumpkin. This is one end, this is one end. So you have to control them. So if you want to turn them to go down this area, you could do that. If you want to push them over more, you can do that. But it's always the right thing to try to control the pumpkin vines, because if you're not controlling the pumpkin vines, what's gonna happen, they're gonna end up running through your garden. I'm gonna show you more pumpkin. This is a squash, and this squash runs like wildfire. Also, if you notice, you will see I'm controlling them. So you have to control them, because they will take over your garden. You see, this is one trying to run up here. So what I got to do, I got to bring it back down and push it in this direction that it's going to go out there. Because you don't want them in the field, because if they come in the field, they're going to take over your okra. They're going to take over your pepper or your eggplant. They're going to run through and take over your whole garden. So you can't allow that. Okay? So this is a sorrel. This is a comfrey plant. This is a edo. So this whole area here is loaded with all different type of food and all different type of herbs in this whole area going down here in this food forest. Now let me show you about this next pumpkin here. You see, this is another pumpkin vine. If you allow it, it's gonna run through the garden, and I don't want it to run through the garden. So I got to make sure I come here from time to time and control it. Now let me show you coming up here. You see, This is pumpkin. All this is pumpkin, and in between we have tomato. As you see, we also have different type of squash growing up in between. We also have ginger. But if you notice, the pumpkin is running like wildfire. All right, so this is where the pumpkin coming from, and it's running all the way. So now I got to make sure that I control these vines, because if I don't, they will take over the garden. So these are ways you got to be active in your garden, because in a few days a lot of things could happen. All right, so now this is the end of the pumpkin vines. So what I'm doing with these now, I'm taking them, bring them around here and push them over out of the garden behind, and let them run up in circles. It's gonna be a beautiful sight, guys. Also, this is another pumpkin we have that just grows up in the garden there, and it's running out here. Now I have to control this one again, because if you don't control them, they, like I now mentioned, they will take up your whole garden. So it's a lot of work in the garden, but you just got to be active. You have to be active. So I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm going to show you all the food that's in the garden. Then I'm going to tell you how much did it cost me for this whole garden. Right, so all this is edos. This is a edo patch going over here. This is edos. We start to get the rain, so everything start doing really well. The rain is important because we do not wet these plants. We allow nature to deal with these plants, okay? So that's more edos come all the way around here. Going down here, we have edos, we have okra, we have squash growing up in this area right here. All right? And we also have pumpkin. All right, so we have burdock. This is burdock, which we see pushing out flowers, and we're gonna able to get a lot of seed. So just now, I'm gonna have a lot of burdock growing in this area, and we all know the benefit of burdock. Burdock is a very easy plant to grow. Just make sure you give them some nice soft soil, and they will do the rest. Okay, now over here, as you see again, we have some beautiful edo okra growing up here. You can see the okra them. These are okra. We have a bell pepper coming up in the midst right there. I'm gonna do a video pruning these okra and why you should prune okra plant. So I'm gonna do a video with that. So right now, this is a whole patch of okra coming up here as well. All right, so we're gonna go down here, and as we see going over here, same thing. We have okra growing up in here, and you see these banks are very important, because when the water and the rain come, the water settle there and soak through the earth, which is one of the most important thing, because it's soaking the soil deeper. Instead of just dropping and running off, the water naturally settling and soak itself into the plants. So yes, these are okra as well. Over here we have peanuts. This is peanuts we have growing here. You see the water again? Yes, this water gonna settle and soak the earth, which is important. This is a plant named shisho. Them Japanese love this plant. They use it to make tea. They use it in their salad. It's an amazing plant. So that's the pumpkin. All that is pumpkin, squash, tomato, all this growing up inside here, running all the way go back down there. This is an area where I'm actually taking the weeds them out of my garden and add in this area. So once they start breaking down, I'm gonna start throwing them around these beds in the fall. So we have comfrey growing up here. We have marigold, we have sorrel, we have okra, we have pepper, eggplant, all that we have going on, okay? So let me just show you. I ain't got to call the names in because I did that a minute ago. All this is food, right? All this is food. This is a pepper. It's like 7 feet tall now. This pepper is like 7 feet tall at this moment. Okay, see, I had also tied up and I had also put a stake to keep it in line. Over here, all this is food going all the way down here. I notice these leaves is getting yellow. Think it's the rain, but at the same time they're still producing. All right, so we have all going down there, all that edos going over here. We even have pumpkin running through the vines here. Okay, all this is edos, all this is food. Okay, when we come over here, what we're seeing, this is edos, this is cassava. These are cassava growing up here. This is a big root of edos, as you can see coming up here. And if you notice, we have yam. This is actually yam we have running up on this trail right here. All right, so as you see going through here is all different type of edos, tanya. In this area here we have okra, pepper, we have a nice butternut squash. All going down here is food. We have pepper, ripe pepper on this tree. You see what I'm saying? All this corn, squash. And back over here, we have more squash growing. And down to the bottom down there, we have edos. Over the side down there, we have squash. Now, how much did you think it cost me to produce a food forest like this? How much did you think it cost me to produce a food forest like this? Well, okay, you know how much it cost me? It cost me about $10. It cost me about $10 to produce this garden. How did it cost me $10? Because what I do every year, I always save seed for the next season. You see what I'm saying? So I save my peppers, I save my pumpkin, I save my squash, I save my okra, I save tomato seed, I save herb seed, all these type of food. I save the seed, the edos, I replant their heads in the fall, and then I also plant some. I save some and I replant them. So all this only cost me $10. Do you understand what I'm saying? $10. So when people tell you you need an arm and a leg for start a food forest, no. The best thing for you to do is to start them from seed. And once you start them from seed, you in good shape. And even here, look at here, we still have tomato growing here. All right. And down behind here, we also have food growing behind here too. All these are basils we have okra, we have tomato, we have peppers growing there. All this is actually food growing up here. All right, and how much I tell you it cost me? $10. You can do it too, guys. You can do it too. Don't make the distraction get to your head, because if you allow the distraction to get to your head, you will not start a garden. All right, the best thing to do is starting from seed. If you start from seed, it's gonna save you a lot of money. All right, and a lot of time. Starting from seed takes time. Sometimes some of the plants you got to start them from indoors. Yes, it's very challenging But at the end of the day, look at the rewards. Could you imagine produce something like this and it only costs you $10? Could you imagine? All right, so don't forget, guys, keep following this channel because we have a lot to teach, we have a lot to share, and I hope each and every one of you have a blessed and wonderful day. Happy gardening.